You know how people say, it's your day? Yeah, apparently my stepmother never got that memo. Or maybe she got it, crumpled it up, set it on fire, and used the ashes to season the nightmare she served me on what should have been the happiest day of my life. I'm sitting here, months later, trying to write this, and my hands are still shaking a little. Liam and I are married. That part is amazing. The best decision I ever made. He's my rock. Good thing, too, because on our wedding day, I needed something solid to cling to while Hurricane Brenda tried her damnedest to rip everything apart. Reddit, I need to know if I went too far, though deep down I think I already know the answer. Picture this: my wedding reception, the happiest day of my life, twisting into a public spectacle, culminating in me, the bride, shaking with fury. Sounds extreme, right? What should have been a celebration became a masterclass in malice. Years of simmering resentment boiling over in a way that left jaws on the floor, and my new marriage facing its first major crisis before the cake was even properly cut. Most wedding disaster stories involve a drunken uncle, or maybe a wardrobe malfunction. Mine involves calculated psychological warfare, blatant sabotage, and a level of maliciousness I honestly didn't think existed outside of soap operas. Buckle up, Reddit. This is a long one, because the devil, as they say, is in the excruciating details. The seeds of chaos. A little backstory is crucial. My amazing mom passed away from cancer when I was 15. It gutted me, left me and my dad reeling. Dad met Brenda a few years later. She's shiny, polished exterior, lots of forced laughter, always impeccably dressed. But underneath, think Cruella de Vil meets a passive-aggressive python. From day one, she made it clear I wasn't family, I was baggage my dad came with. Her own kids, from a previous marriage, wisely keep their distance, which should have been my first clue. Her tactics were subtle, insidious. Backhanded compliments. That haircut is bold on you, Sarah. Forgetting important events in my life. Constantly steering conversations back to herself, and making these little digs comparing me to her idea of perfection, usually while my dad was conveniently out of earshot or distracted. Dad, bless his conflict-averse soul, operates under the delusion that Brenda is just enthusiastic and means well. He desperately craves harmony, often at the expense of acknowledging reality. I learned to navigate her, keeping interactions brief, polite, and surface level. It was exhausting, but manageable. Then Liam proposed. Pure joy. We were floating. We started planning the wedding of our dreams. Rustic chic barn venue, live band playing funk and soul, food trucks instead of a stuffy sit-down dinner, a focus on fun and love. Suddenly, Brenda morphed from background noise into an omnipresent planning consultant we never hired. A barn, Sarah? Are you sure? It sounds rather drafty. And think of the insects. Delivered with a delicate shudder. Food trucks? Oh, darling, how quaint. But won't it be terribly messy? And what will my friends think? On my dress. It's very modern. Not quite what I pictured for you. Are you sure white is the most flattering? Perhaps a champagne or even a blush. Knowing full well my mom wore a classic white gown. Every single decision was met with feigned concern that dripped with condescension. Liam was brilliant. He became my buffer, a polite but impenetrable wall. Thanks, Brenda, but we've got it handled. We actually love the barn because it's rustic. The food trucks are non-negotiable. It reflects us. Each time he shut her down, her smile tightened, her eyes got colder, but she'd retreat, murmuring about just trying to help. We made the mistake, the colossal, idiotic mistake, of trying to appease her by giving her one job. Something seemingly foolproof. Coordinate the hotel block for out-of-town guests. How could she mess that up? Oh, let me count the ways. First, she negotiated a rate at a hotel miles away from the venue, next to a noisy highway, despite us giving her a list of 3 much closer, nicer options. Then, she forgot to confirm the block, leading to several panicked calls from relatives saying the hotel had no record of the wedding rate. When we finally sorted that out, by calling the hotel ourselves, she sent out the booking information email with the wrong wedding date listed. It took 3 frantic rounds of calls and emails to correct the chaos she'd sown with this one simple task. Her excuse? Oh dear, pregnancy brain, haha. She is not, nor has she ever been, pregnant during this time. My dad just sighed and said, "She's a bit scattered, honey. Her heart was in the right place." My eye twitch was becoming permanent. We also had a small engagement party. Brenda insisted on bringing a special dish. It was an incredibly elaborate, pungent fish terrine. I'm allergic to shellfish. I'd told her this multiple times. Liam had told her, my dad had told her. Her response when I politely declined, "Oh, don't be so dramatic, Sarah. A little bit won't hurt you. You probably just think you're allergic." Liam had to physically block her from putting it on my plate. These weren't accidents. This was a pattern. And it was just the warm-up act for the main event. The wedding day, dawn of the disaster. The morning itself started like a dream. Sunshine, my best friends around me, mimosas, laughter. The Airbnb buzzed with happy energy. Hair and makeup artists worked their magic. My dress hung like a promise of the perfect day ahead. I felt light, hopeful, genuinely excited. Then, precisely at 10:03 a.m., 2 hours before she was due for photos, the door burst open and in swept Brenda, cloaked in an ivory pantsuit that screamed, "Look at me, I'm basically the bride." "Darling," she boomed, ignoring the startled makeup artist mid-eyeliner flick on my bridesmaid. Couldn't stay away another second. Had to see my girl. She air-kissed the space near my face, her perfume overpowering. "And I brought bubbles." She thrust a bottle of cheap Prosecco and a stack of red plastic cups towards us, eyeing our elegant champagne flutes with disdain. My maid of honor, Chloe, the undisputed MVP of the day, intercepted smoothly. "Brenda, how lovely! We're just getting ready here, quite a bit of chaos. Why don't you make yourself comfortable in the living room? We'll bring you a proper mimosa in a moment." Brenda allowed herself to be steered away, but her helpfulness couldn't be contained. 5 minutes later, she was back, hovering behind the hairstylist. "Are you sure about that height, Sarah? It might make your face look round." "I love it, Brenda." "And that neckline on the dress? It shows quite a bit of décolletage, doesn't it? Is that really appropriate for a church?" "Oh, wait. You're not getting married in a church, are you?" "Right. The barn." Then came the coffee incident. It played out exactly as I described before, but the sheer audacity of it needs reiterating. She walked towards my dress, hanging pristine and vulnerable. Her hand reached out, supposedly to admire the lace. Her eyes flickered towards the coffee mug on the side table. A little hip check, a slight stumble, utterly staged, and the mug went flying. Dark liquid splashed. My heart leaped into my throat. Chloe, moving with the speed of a Secret Service agent, literally threw herself in front of the dress, taking a few splatters on her own robe. The dress bag got hit, but the gown itself remained miraculously untouched. "Oh, Butterfingers! Silly me," Brenda gasped, hand fluttering to her chest, eyes wide with performative horror. "Sarah, darling, I am mortified. Thank goodness it missed." I stared at her, the adrenaline making my vision sharp. The deliberate flick of her wrist, the calculated trajectory. It was unmistakable. "It's fine, Brenda," I managed, my voice dangerously low. "Chloe saved it. Perhaps you should head to the venue. We need to focus here." The wounded look she gave me could have won awards. "Oh, of course. If I'm not wanted..." She trailed off, grabbing her ridiculously oversized handbag. As she walked out, she delivered the parting shot, loud enough for everyone to hear. Your mother, bless her soul, had such simple, elegant taste. She would have... well, never mind. Bringing up my deceased mother again, implying criticism of my choices by comparing them to her memory, it was a poisoned dart aimed straight at my heart. The joy in the room deflated like a punctured balloon. My bridesmaids rallied, bless them, showering me with reassurance and more champagne, but the knot of dread in my stomach tightened. Brenda had drawn first blood, and the ceremony hadn't even started. Cocktail hour calamities, death by 1,000 paper cuts. Somehow, we got through photos. Liam looked breathtakingly handsome, his smile a beacon cutting through my anxiety. Seeing him waiting for me at the end of the aisle steadied me. My dad walked me down, his eyes shining with pride. "You look beautiful, sweetheart. Just like your mom," he whispered. And this time, the comparison brought tears of love, not pain. The ceremony itself was magic. We exchanged vows we'd poured our hearts into. Liam's voice cracked, mine trembled. We kissed. We were married. Relief washed over me, pure and potent. Maybe, just maybe, the worst was over. Famous last words. The cocktail hour began on the venue's beautiful terrace. Guests mingled, music played, drinks flowed. For about 15 minutes it felt normal. Then the Brenda-induced anomalies began. First, Aunt Carol flustered. Sarah, Brenda just insisted I was at table 15. By the service door, my card says table 3. A quick reassurance, a forced smile. Okay, weird. Then, Liam's Uncle Dave. Liam, old boy, Brenda mentioned you guys are doing a cash bar after the first hour? Bit tight, isn't it? Liam's jaw tightened. He'd specifically negotiated and paid for an open bar all night. A quick dash to the bar manager confirmed Brenda had, indeed, attempted to rewrite our bar contract verbally. Manager appalled, situation rectified. Stress level rising. Next, the music. Our carefully curated playlist, funk, soul, 90s hip-hop, absolutely zero country, was suddenly interrupted by a saccharine Alan Jackson ballad. Liam and I looked at each other in horror. He found the DJ, who looked stressed. Sorry, man! The bride's mom came over, said the bride needed to hear this one song. It was her special request. That wasn't the bride's mom. That was her stepmom, Liam corrected firmly. Stick to the list. The funk resumed, but the jarring interruption had broken the flow. Then I saw Brenda cornering Liam's boss, Mr. Henderson, by the canapes. She was talking animatedly, gesturing towards me, wearing a look of deep concern. My stomach churned. What lies was she spinning now? Later, Mr. Henderson awkwardly asked Liam if everything was all right with Sarah's job situation. As Brenda had implied, I was under a lot of stress at work and considering a major change. I work in graphic design and love my job. Liam smoothly corrected him, but the damage was done. She was actively trying to undermine me professionally at my own wedding. It was relentless. A constant barrage of small disruptions, misinformation, and control tactics, all delivered with that veneer of plausible deniability. Oh, I must have misheard. Just trying to make sure everyone is comfortable. My mistake. Each incident chipped away at the joy, replacing it with anxiety and simmering rage. My dad, meanwhile, floated through the crowd, blissfully unaware, telling everyone how wonderfully Brenda helped pull this all together. I wanted to scream. The toast terrors, public humiliation as performance art dinner was served in the beautifully decorated barn. Fairy lights twinkled. The food was delicious. For a moment, sitting beside Liam, holding his hand, I felt a flicker of hope. Chloe's maid of honor speech was perfect, funny, touching, full of love. Liam's best man, Tom, roasted him gently and welcomed me to the family. Then my dad stood up. His speech was beautiful. He spoke of my mom, of his pride in me, his love for Liam. He talked about finding happiness again and thanked Brenda for being part of his life. I managed not to visibly cringe. It was heartfelt and lovely. Then, the moment I'd been subconsciously dreading. Before the MC could move on, Brenda was up, practically snatching the microphone from my dad's hand. Excuse me, everyone. I know I'm not officially on the program, she trilled, flashing a dazzlingly false smile. But as the mother of the bride, a collective internal groan from those who knew the truth, I simply must share a few thoughts. The room fell quiet, a different kind of quiet than before. Tense, expectant. Sarah, my darling stepdaughter. She turned to me, her eyes glittering with something that wasn't warmth. Where to begin? When Arthur first brought you into my life, you were such a serious little thing. A few polite, confused chuckles. Still waters run deep, they say. Very attached to the past, understandably. It took a very, very long time for her to warm up to me, didn't it, Sarah? She winked conspiratorially at the crowd. My face felt like it was on fire. I could feel hundreds of eyes on me. She has such specific tastes, Brenda continued, her voice acquiring a sharper edge beneath the sugary coating. Very particular, not always easy to please. Liam, she turned to him, placing a condescending hand on his shoulder. He visibly stiffened. You certainly have your work cut out for you. Patience is a virtue. My boy. Okay, insulting, but maybe survivable. Then she went for the jugular. But beneath that reserved exterior, she leaned into the mic, lowering her voice like she was sharing a juicy secret. There's always been a passionate heart. Sometimes, perhaps, a little too passionate. She paused for effect. I remember hearing stories. Wasn't there a young man just before Liam came along? Mike, was it? Or was it Matt? Anyway, apparently, things got quite intense. Lots of drama, late-night tears. She even thought about moving across the country for him at one point. Quite the whirlwind. My blood turned to ice. She was referring to Mike, a brief, messy rebound relationship from 5 years ago, long before I met Liam, and she was twisting it, exaggerating it, making it sound recent, dramatic, and unstable, implying I was flighty, emotionally volatile, maybe even still hung up on someone else. Liam's hand found mine under the table, his grip crushing. And financially, she added, as if delivering helpful advice. Liam, dear, make sure you keep a close eye on the budget. Sarah loves beautiful things. Sometimes practicality goes out the window. Bless her heart. She patted his arm again. The air in the room was thick with discomfort. People were shifting in their seats, avoiding eye contact. My dad looked utterly lost, frowning at Brenda as if trying to decipher a foreign language. Chloe looked like she was about to vault over the table. Brenda raised her glass, beaming as if she'd just delivered a heartwarming tribute. But, truly, we are all so thrilled for you both. May your life together be full of surprises. She drained her wineglass with a flourish. The silence that followed was deafening. Not appreciative silence, horrified silence. She hadn't just toasted us. She'd tried to publicly assassinate my character with lies and gross exaggerations, painting me as unstable, potentially unfaithful, dramatic, and financially irresponsible. All delivered with a smile. Tears pricked my eyes, hot, furious, humiliated tears. Liam leaned in, his voice a low growl in my ear. Don't let her win. She's making herself look like a fool. I love you. None of that matters. Cake, catastrophe, and confrontation. The frosting. Hits the fan. Somehow, we got through the rest of dinner, though I barely tasted it. It was time for the cake cutting. Our cake was stunning. 4 tiers of lemon and elderflower bliss, decorated with delicate sugar flowers that matched my bouquet. It was a small beacon of beauty in the encroaching chaos. We stood beside it, holding the ceremonial knife. Photographers gathered. We forced smiles, trying desperately to reclaim some semblance of normalcy. Smile like you mean it, Liam whispered, squeezing my hand. We're cutting the cake. This is our moment. But Brenda couldn't allow that. Oh, let me get a closer look. It's magnificent, she declared loudly, pushing past Aunt Carol and Uncle Dave, her phone held high like a weapon. Move aside, folks. Mother of the bride coming through. She bustled right up to the table, practically leaning over our shoulders. As we made the first symbolic cut, she lurched forward, just trying to get the perfect angle, and her elbow connected squarely with the delicate table leg. It was like a scene from a disaster movie, unfolding in nightmarish slow motion. The table bucked. The cake, our beautiful, expensive, symbolic cake, wobbled precariously. A collective gasp sucked the air out of the room. Then, with horrifying finality, it tilted, slid, and crashed to the hardwood floor. Whump. Followed by a sickening splatter. Frosting flew like shrapnel. White buttercream coated the floor, the table legs, the shoes of nearby guests. A huge chunk landed squarely on the hem of Brenda's ivory pantsuit. Sugar flowers shattered like glass. Silence. Absolute, stunned silence for 3 long seconds. Then, pandemonium. A shriek from someone in the front. People scrambling backwards. The venue staff rushing forward, looking horrified. And Brenda? Standing amidst the wreckage, hand clamped over her mouth, eyes wide with what she clearly thought passed for shock. Oh my goodness! Oh heavens! I stumbled, my heel caught. Oh Sarah, Liam, your beautiful cake. I am so, so, so sorry. But this time the performance fell flat. Nobody was buying the clumsy act. Not after the dress incident, the toast, the constant meddling. The calculation was chillingly clear. This wasn't an accident. This was the grand finale of her sabotage campaign. Something inside me snapped. The carefully constructed dam of politeness, of tolerance, of wanting to keep the peace for my dad, it just crumbled. Fury, cold and clear, surged through me. "Get out," I said. My voice didn't shake this time. It was quiet, but it cut through the noise. Brenda blinked, her fake distress faltering. "What was that, dear?" I couldn't hear you over the commotion. "I said, get out," I repeated, louder now, stepping towards her, heedless of the frosting battlefield. "Get out of my wedding, right now." Liam was instantly beside me, a protective arm around my waist, his face radiating cold anger. "You heard my wife, Brenda. Leave." Brenda's face contorted, the mask finally dropping completely, revealing pure, unadulterated rage. "How dare you speak to me like that after everything I've done? I organized the hotel block. I helped with the seating chart. I was just trying to get a picture. You ungrateful little—" "Trying to help?" I interrupted, my voice ringing with disbelief. "By wearing white? By nearly ruining my dress? By telling lies about me in front of all our guests? By messing with the bar, the music, the seating? By insulting my dead mother? And now this?" I gestured wildly at the catastrophic cake mess. "You have done nothing today but try to hurt me and ruin this day. This stops now. Get out." All eyes were glued to the drama. And then, finally, my dad moved. He walked towards Brenda, his face pale but resolute. The blissful ignorance was gone, replaced by a look of profound disappointment and dawning horror. "Brenda," he said, his voice low but carrying undeniable authority. "Sarah is right. This is unacceptable. We are leaving." "Arthur, don't be ridiculous. She's overtired and hysterical," Brenda shrieked, turning on him. "She's always resented me. She's trying to drive a wedge between us." "Enough, Brenda," my dad said, his voice harder than I'd ever heard it. He actually took her arm firmly. "You have caused enough pain today. We are going. Now." He didn't look at her. He looked at me, his eyes filled with apology and regret. "Sarah, Liam, I am so sorry." Brenda started sputtering protests, trying to pull away, but my dad held firm, practically marching her towards the exit. The doors closed behind them, swallowing her indignant squawks. Picking up the pieces, frosting, funk, and fortitude. The silence that descended was heavy, but tinged with relief. I stood there, shaking, staring at the ruined cake, breathing heavily. Liam wrapped his arms around me. "It's over," he murmured, into my hair. "She's gone." The venue staff were incredible. They swooped in, cleaning the mess with quiet efficiency. The manager rushed over, apologizing profusely, assuring us the cake was fully comped, extending the bar service, offering anything we needed. Chloe, my hero, grabbed the microphone again. Her voice rang out, clear and cheerful. "All right, party people. So, that happened. Let's be honest. We'll be talking about this one for years. But, you know what? Our gorgeous bride and groom are married. The drama llama has left the building. We still have music, we still have booze, and we still have a dance floor. DJ, hit it." And the DJ did. He cranked up James Brown. The energy shifted. It was tentative at first, then gained momentum. Liam pulled me onto the dance floor, holding me tight. "Forget her," he said fiercely. "This is our night now. Let's dance." And we did. Our friends and family surrounded us, offering hugs, words of support, outraged sympathy about Brenda. The staff brought out trays of delicious cupcakes and pastries they had in reserve. Someone smeared a tiny bit of frosting from the floor onto Liam's uncle's cheek, and suddenly everyone was laughing, calling themselves cake-tastrophe survivors. We danced our first dance to Al Green, completely lost in each other. We skipped the bouquet toss and garter toss. We just danced, drank, and celebrated with the people who genuinely loved us. It wasn't the perfect, elegant reception we'd planned. It was messy, emotional, and unexpectedly cathartic. We didn't just have a wedding, we survived an ordeal, and we did it together. My dad called the next morning. He sounded exhausted and deeply ashamed. He said the scales had finally fallen from his eyes, that seeing the cake incident after the toast made everything click into place. He admitted he'd been willfully blind for years, prioritizing peace over truth. He and Brenda had a monumental argument. He'd packed a bag and was staying with his brother. He didn't know what the future held for their marriage, but he knew things had to change. He apologized profusely to me and Liam, promising to make it up to us. Our relationship is strained, requires rebuilding, but for the first time, I feel like he sees me and sees Brenda for who she is. That's a start. Brenda, predictably, has been sending manipulative texts, alternating between tearful apologies. I was just so stressed. I don't know what came over me. And bitter accusations. You always wanted to exclude me. We've both blocked her number. Word has filtered back that she's telling anyone who will listen a highly edited version where she is the victim of my bridezilla meltdown. Thankfully, enough people witnessed her antics firsthand that her narrative isn't gaining much traction. So, yeah. My wedding day was a nightmare orchestrated by my stepmother. She tried to tear down my confidence, my relationship, and my celebration. But she failed. She revealed her true colors to everyone, potentially blew up her own marriage, and ultimately, she couldn't touch the core of the day. Liam and me, starting our life together. We're stronger. We know who our true friends and family are, and honestly, while I wouldn't wish it on anyone, surviving Hurricane Brenda on day 1 of our marriage feels like we can probably handle anything. Thanks for letting me vent. It's been therapeutic. Don't let anyone tell you who gets to define your happiness, especially on your wedding day. Well, that's all for today. Share, and subscribe for more interesting stories.